Yo, what is up? Just thought I'd make this video. Noticed a lot of videos right now talking about co-anglers and co-anglers not fishing and forward-facing sonar and such. And, I've been on the co-angler side, I've been on the angler side. I've fished quite a few tournaments as a co-angler with friends as well as strangers. Um, and I've had people on my boat that I've never met before. So understanding that there's definitely a perspective on the pros ends, and you see a lot of videos out there about pros and MLF and BFL individuals, sharing their opinion about what's going on. I also think it's important that the average Joe side of things is discussed. And yeah, I figured I would kind of share my 2 cents on it, and I could be way off, but I don't think I am. You know, right now the big discussion is they're seeing a drop when it comes to tournaments, when it comes to the field. We just recently had, I believe it was a BFL, canceled here. I think they had 107 boats signed up. To put that in perspective, there were more boats at the high school event. There were over 200. Having a very difficult time finding co-anglers. A lot of people are saying, hey, it's because of forward-facing sonar. Nobody wants to be in the back of the boat while some guy is offshore, honed in on a pile. And I've heard stories. I've had buddies of mine, tell me, hey, I put time into finding something. I went there, and then I've had co-anglers try to cast onto it. On one side, you say to yourself, okay, was that person doing that because they were rude and inconsiderate? Or on the other side of it, is it a level of desperation because, these are individuals that have probably fished a couple of tournaments to a point where they know that if I'm out in open water and I am looking at something specific, you know, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that there's probably nothing else around that area for them to throw at, which of course can cause some hostile situations. And I never condone the idea of a co-angler, casting over the shoulders of a pro, just like a pro, needs to understand that there is that space that the co-angler is supposed to have. With that being said, though, uh, I think there's some validity to the idea that forward-facing sonar is slowly, painfully ruining these fishing tournaments for co-anglers. But I think what it really is just the general expense without any feeling of not necessarily reward, but return on the investment. A lot of these guys that are fishing ABA or BFL, Toyota Series as co-anglers, don't kid yourself. It's not because they can't afford to be an angler. No, it's because they're either slightly intimidated by it, they might not have the boat, a level of confidence in the boat that they have, or the electronics to compete on that level. And, by being in the back of the boat, it's kind of an even playing ground for all co-anglers. But make no mistake, I mean, there was one time where I was in the Toyota Series on one of the days I threw out a top water, got stuck up, and said, hey, can you give me a second to undo this? That angler could care less. He was going somewhere, he was focused, and there was nothing that I was going to do on the back of the boat that was going to deter him or distract him from what he was doing. In that Toyota Series, I very quickly realized that the co-anglers are cash cows, period. They are what helps sweeten the pot. And, there's a lot of people out there that'll probably argue that of like, oh no, they don't intermingle money. I think if you take some time and you recognize that, yes, there is 100% uh, a benefit to these tournaments and these sponsors are requiring a certain playing field to make certain funds available to winners. It's pretty obvious that if they do not have a co-angler base or a strong enough base for a tournament, that there's a very good chance they are going to cancel it. or they pray to God that weather conditions somehow will justify them canceling it. So my thing is, when you're a co-angler and you're spending that money, first off, right off the bat, this was one of the first big tournaments that I did. I immediately handed the guys $50 in cash. I said, hey, I'm from these lakes. If, you want to go to certain areas, I know them. Nope, I already know where I'm going. I'm like, okay. In my head, that instantly turned to, why the hell did I just give this guy $50 in gas? 100%, he needs me. I mean, if he's out there there has to be a link, you know. And there was that feeling as a co-angler of like, okay, I'm literally just here for the ride. And I think that that's a big thing that needs to change when it comes to the co-angler factor. I think that there does need to be some rules in place that are followed through on, that there is a certain amount of allotted time possibly. Of course that gets kind of sticky though, because if you're say on Lake Harris and all of a sudden the co-angler says, okay, during this time or that time I want to go to Lake Apopka, that can definitely cause some issues. But at the same time, if anglers know going into it that to be able to fish the event, they have to have a co-angler and they have to play ball in that realm. I don't know. But again, nothing is going to change in the industry as long as you have people trying to do these events and feeling like they're getting backboated. They're either getting backboated because of forward-facing sonar, they're being backboated, meaning they're not a priority, where they want to go, what they have to say is not a priority, because the captain, the pro, is spending so much more money on the event, so that's understandable on his part. But I think until the deal is sweetened up a little bit for co-anglers, you're going to see a lot of people dropping off of these tournaments, because at the end of the day, they have no say in where they're going. They have no say in what they're doing. They have way less value when it comes to winnings. They're 100% a necessity for the pros. Then to top it off by them not being able to have any kind of electronics in the back of the boat and the risk of being backboated, no, I'd rather fish a club event or Sunday opens or stuff like that. And for anybody that's like, yeah, go ahead and do that, I mean, listen, that's what's going to happen. You are going to have people weighing their options, return on investment. Being in the back of the boat is nothing but a risk to your dollar. So until they curb that, I think it's going to continue to be an issue. But we'll see. Leave your thoughts. Please leave your thoughts. Comment. Let me know. I could be totally off my rocker, but I think I'm kind of on par with this.